You can usually type in the county and then the zoning it has. Hickman County, Tennessee zoning. You can control F and type in your zoning code. All the details on what you can and cannot do on the property or with the property.
You can buy and flip anything. Like you could buy and flip a turd. We have bought and flipped a landfill. But that being said, like you want to know what you're getting into before you buy it.
You can screenshot the deed or put it into ChatGPT and say, hey, can you tell me if anything's wrong with this? I want to build and put a house on it and hunt and do all this. And say, do due diligence on this deed for me. I did it the other day, actually. Really good how it can do that. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Real Estate Investing Podcast. Today we're talking about everything you need to do before you're buying a piece of land. It's going to be a due diligence episode and just walk you through step-by-steps whether you're buying and flipping, buying and doing some sort of land investing model, or just buying land and you're just an average landowner buying a piece of land and you want to know what to do, what you should look at before buying and when you're analyzing a property. Even if you're getting ready to put offers out, Ron, this is some stuff you can do prematurely as well, just making sure it's a good fit for you.
Yeah, exactly. 100% agree. And I think we start this out, Dan, by talking about what you need to do, because there are situational things that you should do on some properties and probably don't have to do on other properties. But I think we start with what you should do on every single piece of land before you buy it. Because there are things, like I said, are going to fall into categories of things that aren't needed. But yeah, let's start with that though. As far as like, what's your first thing in mind? Like, what's the most important thing every single piece of land when you start due diligence?
Well, you want to go through a due diligence checklist and make sure you have proper access to everything, right? So one that comes to mind, Ron, is proper road frontage. Like, let's just talk about that for a second. Make sure you have etiquette, proper road frontage so you can build on the land. There's restrictions on how much road frontage with the county you need to have. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think that's a big one. Having access to the land is like basically what Dan's saying. It's like make sure
having access, but having buildable access as well.
Buildable access for sure. You'll have some weird shaped properties that only have 10 feet of road access or something like that. You call the county up, you're like, yeah, you need at least 50 feet of road access for you to be able to build on this land. Like, all right, that is something. There's a lot of things when you call the county. There's a lot of things you need to do. Like you need to find out if there's any restrictions on the land. And that could be something based on that. So if you're just talking about like the physical attributes of the land, Dan, like, yeah, making sure you have road access. So pulling up the land portal, pulling up a software you can look at the land, making sure you have road access. Let's talk about that because making sure you have road access, making sure it's not in wetlands or floodplain. And if it is, making sure you understand that. The slope is something that you can, we talk about, I'm kind of going off on a tangent here. We talk about like computer due diligence, Dan. Let's start with that. Like things you can do for free without getting on the phone. Let's first talk about computer due diligence and what that looks like. So you're pulling it up on a computer, land portal.
Okay, so don't talk about road. Well, you can look at road frontage, of course, but if you don't have road frontage and it's through some easement, an easement's just legal access through other people's property, essentially. So it's pretty much a granted road through someone's property. So if you do have an easement, you want to make sure there's a road going actually to your property, so like cleared area. And if not, you have to plan to put aside tens of thousands of dollars to clear that area and put a driveway going through it so you can have access to it. Because if you don't and you just have an easement, one, you have to verify the easement. So you're going to have to call the county. You're going to have to get the survey or figure out where the easement is and the documents or the plat map, whatever shows the easement. But you need to verify that. So we can move on from road frontage. Some of the other things that you can just look at from a computer is the wetlands and flood zone, right? Making sure your property is not wet or in a flood zone. And if it is, how much of it is it still, are you okay with still buying it if it's 50% in a wetlands or flood zone? Depending on the area, this can be really, really prevalent, Ron. If you're in certain areas of the country, there's tons of flood zones, tons of wetlands. So you want to make sure, like, have your box of how much of a flood zone and wetland you want to be in. If you don't want any at all, that's okay. There's lots of property completely dry and out of flood zones too. But you want to know that when you're looking at properties as well. That's the first thing I would pull up is wetlands and flood zones. Look at the road access. And then you have things also around like the slope of the property.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's kind of the end of like that computer due diligence. Like looking at the land, seeing what the land looks like, seeing the other attributes. And like Dan said, like, it's showing floodplain or wetlands, like that means you need to look more into that. That's not going to be the focus of this episode, But as far as like that is what you can do in front of the computer. So you're in front of the computer, you don't pull up or you don't call anybody, you don't pull up a deed. You're just looking at the land, looking at flood zone, wetlands. If it's in city limits, Dan, that's a big thing that we didn't say yet. Is it in city limits? Again, you can do that all in the computer and seeing actually what's going on with the land. The next thing I think you do, Dan, is call up the zoning department. So you want to call up the zoning department and you're essentially asking them, what can I do with this land? It can be like, okay, can I put mobile homes on this land? Can I put an RV on this land? Am I allowed to hunt on this land? Are there any restrictions that I need to know about this area or this jurisdiction? And that is when the zoning department, whether it's a county or the city zoning department, is going to give you a lot of answers on what you can actually do with the land.
Yes, and the less restrictions, the better. As if you guys are looking to buy land, you guys know that because you don't want someone telling you what you can and cannot do. If you're outside of city limits in a rural area, typically there's very little restrictions. But you want to make sure there's no restrictions on that. We can also get into HOA after this, Ron, and make sure it's not in HOA where they have its own restrictions.
We'll talk about that with deeds.
With deeds, yeah. So we'll look at deeds and HOA after this as well. But the main questions you want to see, like, can you put a mobile home on it? And what are the restrictions to putting a mobile home on it? That's one of the main ones, Ron. And what can you do and not do on the land? Just find out the zoning it's in, and then find out. You can usually type in the county and then the zoning it has, and they'll have a Hickman County, Tennessee zoning page with 28 pages on it. You can Control F and type in your zoning code, and then it'll take you and it'll tell you exactly what you can and cannot do it. Can you subdivide it if you need to? Can you split it into 5-acre lots? How small can you subdivide it if that's something you want to do? You want to look at what you can and all the details on what you can and cannot do on the property or with the property.
Yep. Yeah, so from there, honestly, like you find out from the zoning what you can do with the property. And to be clear, guys, the zoning is not going to necessarily tell you exactly about your particular property. They're going to tell you about the area, in this area, because there's more details that can happen, and that's what we're going to talk about next. So you literally get out, as you're getting out the phone with the zoning, can you get me to, like, where do I get deeds in this county? Where can I get more information on my actual property? And they'll probably forward you to the county recorder or give you the phone number for the county recorder, and that should be back to back. All right, zoning, you found what you can do with the property. Now you're calling the county recorder, and you're going to ask them for the most recent deed. Maybe you get the most recent 2 deeds, so you can confirm one with the deed. You're going to be able to confirm, okay, this owner, Sally Smith, is who I'm talking to. She's on the most recent deed, and you're going to be looking at that most recent deed. Is anyone else on this deed? Maybe Sally Smith, you're talking to Sally Smith, and there's a John Smith on the deed. No Sally Smith. All right, you got to call Sally up and ask Sally, like, who's John Smith? I don't see you on this deed. But yeah, from the zoning department, get to the recorder, get the deed, ask them if there's any plats or surveys. So you're going to get a survey or a plat if they have that. Anything else? Oh, if there's probably not Perc test, Dan, like feasibility tests won't be there. You would probably have to call like the soil or engineering department maybe. You might be able to get it from there. You can ask them, like, are there any soil or buildability tests on file? You want to get everything on file from that records file basically to you. So deeds, surveys, plats, buildability tests, anything like that, and that's going to give you so much more information on your actual property.
Yeah, and then you just have to read through the deed, make sure there could be deed restrictions, right? We've had land where it's a trash, what do they call it, Ron? Landfill, where it's a landfill. You can see a lot of that information on the deed. You can see if there's any other restrictions on the deed. Maybe you can't build on the property, and they just zoned that property because it's in a subdivision. They zoned it as unbuildable so they could have drainage there, things like that. You want to look at all these things, read through the deed. You can screenshot the deed or put it into ChatGPT and say, hey, can you tell me if anything's wrong with this? I want to build and put a house on it and hunt and do all this. And just ask it and it'd say, do due diligence on this deed for me. And then it would spit out some of the requirements and what's going on. I did it the other day, actually. It's really good how it can do that. It told me, hey, there's 3 electrical easements on your property. Just verify where those are. And then it told me a few other things. Hey, tax needs to be paid off. There's back taxes on it. It just had a couple things on the sheet that would be hard to read through. So put in ChatGPT, see what it finds out, and then read through it yourself as well. That's the main thing. Ever wondered how land investing can be the fastest path to financial freedom? I break it all down in my new book, One Lot at a Time. I'll show you exactly how to find, buy, and flip land for huge profits without dealing with houses, tenants, or any crazy renovations. It's simple. This is the book that I wish I had when I first started. If you're ready to take control of your financial future, grab a copy now. One Lot at a Time by Daniel Apke. Find it at your local bookstore or on Amazon.com. I want to talk about Perc Test a little bit because if I was buying a property long term to hold myself, I would get a Perc Test before I buy it, I think.
No matter what.
I mean, if it's like 100 acres, 50 acres, I'm not as concerned. But if it's like 5, 10 acres, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you? Like if it's for you long term?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely sub 10 acres. I think I probably would, like even if I didn't want to do something with it immediately. And what a Perc Test does, it basically tells you that the land can hold a septic system or not, or it has enough absorption to have a septic system. But that goes into something else, Dan. Like, yeah, you want to see if there's any soil tests on. And that let's first, before we talk about that, let's talk about utilities. Like that is probably the last conversation where you need to make a phone call and you need to find out about electric, water, and sewer. A lot of times in rural America, like we just have electric and there's no well, there's no public sewer, so a septic is needed. Very, very common, but you want to know that before you get into it.
Yeah, and digging a well is pretty standard in rural America. Don't be scared about that. You can have a company. It's not that expensive to have a well put. It depends where you are. It can be expensive. But yeah, digging a well is very, very normal, but you need access to electricity. Unless you're going off grid, and you're fine with that. Because you can do things like solar and have a completely off grid. That's a big thing right now, Ron. Let's be honest. Like a lot of people want completely off grid. They don't care about electricity. They're going to put their own electricity on it. You can generate your own electricity and run an off grid property, especially in a lot of areas where it's sunny and you can put solar up and things like that. But if you want electricity on your property, you want to verify it's in the area. And then you can even talk to the electric company and tell them where your property is. And giving them the address or the parcel number, and they can tell you if it's in that area and how far away, and then you can kind of measure and how far away it is. And they usually give you a certain amount of feet free, or they have some sort of, every electric company is a little different with how they do it, but they can put electric on your property for a charge, and they can extend it even further and put electrical poles up and things like that for set prices as well. But you don't want to be 5 miles from electricity.
No. That's not good unless you like have a plan for that, understand who your buyer. And the reason for due diligence, guys, like sometimes it does kill deals. Other times it helps you negotiate with the seller some more. Other times it just like helps you like, okay, I need to make sure that I have buyers for whatever my type of piece of land is. Like if you can't hunt on it, you can't put mobile homes on it, and like it only use cases really for like building a house. Like you got to like make sure like, okay, there's going to be buyers, or if you're building a house yourself, like you need to know what you're getting into. That's the biggest thing. Let's go real fast to like post computer due diligence, post call due diligence. So right now at this point, you should understand what the land is. You should understand any restrictions on it. You should make sure that the person you're talking to owns the property, or like you understand the situation with that. You should know utilities, everything like that, any plat surveys that are on file. And now you got to actually decide on some things. Like, do you want a survey? Like maybe there was no survey, there was no plat. Do you want a survey before you buy the land? Do you want a Perc Test? Dan said if you're holding a piece of land, I think sub 10 acres, there can always be an argument for getting a Perc Test. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if it's if I'm buying land for myself long term and it's around that acreage, I would want one, and I understand why people do before they buy them. It's just one less thing they need to worry about. Surveys, there's pros and cons. It's expensive. You might not need it. There might be one on file already. But if I'm holding it long term, I probably also want a survey on it.
You can always get one after. If there's discrepancies, so what I look for when I determine that I want, and a lot of times when you go to a title company and run a title search, they will be able to insure a certain amount of acreage. If they tell you, like, I cannot insure this acreage, the legal description's off. I know I'm getting kind of advanced with this stuff. The legal description's off. That's when, like, they might tell you, like, for us to be able to insure this acreage, we need you to get a survey first. Surveys really help sell land for sure, but it's not something that you need necessarily before you buy it.
Yeah, it's good to have though if you do have one, but if there's no discrepancy, you don't need it.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So if you don't have one and there's no discrepancy and they insure it and everything looks good and on the GIS, it's adding up to be the boundaries are the same acreage as it. Everything looks good and it's cleared. Not you don't need one. It could be another. It's an asset to hold if you did want one before. If I was buying one, just depends the situation. I wouldn't mind having it. It'd be a nice little security blanket to have a perk test and a survey. I think, Ron. But that's all just up to you. I think in your situation. But because this is all based on what you're looking for, like what are you looking for in a property, and you want to work backwards. You might be okay without electricity. You might be okay without a lot of these things. Maybe you need them. Maybe you're putting a house on it and it's a small lot and you need a perk test. If you're doing that type of stuff. You have to cater this system to what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm. And I think the last thing, Dan, and do not skip this, guys. You need to do this. You need boots on the ground before you buy a piece of land every single time. 100% of the time. It's so cheap. You either get a realtor out there or you go on droners.io, especially if you're going to sell it. Hire a drone photographer to get you some good pictures and tell them, like, can you please walk in this area? Can you please walk through the land to make sure nothing is kind of jumping off? This is what I view the land as. It looks flat from everything I can see on the computer. Can you please confirm this for me? And you do not, the biggest thing with due diligence is you don't want surprises. Like Dan said, we have bought and flipped a landfill. We knew it was a landfill before we bought it. We bought it and we made money. Like, do we regret it? I don't know. We made $20,000. But like the thing about due diligence is you want to know what you're getting into. You don't want surprises after you purchase a piece of land, Dan. You can buy and flip anything. Like you could buy and flip a turd. You can buy and flip anything. But that being said, like you want to know what you're getting into before you buy it.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're doing this for your own long-term property as well, the boots on the ground can be you. But if you don't know what you're looking at, you might want to bring a realtor in. Like bringing a realtor in if you're very new, inexperienced is not a bad thing because they can help walk the land, tell you anything they think. They can do their own due diligence too. Like if you're buying a property for yourself, not to flip especially, bring a realtor in because it's just an extra blanket of security to help you along with these things. You also want to do your own due diligence with them. Don't just rely on them because they won't call the county for a lot of this stuff. They just won't. So you have to do a lot of this due diligence yourself. And don't rely, but boots on the ground, even if you have a drone photographer, Ron, you still need to tell them what to look for and everything. Like if you have a realtor, they're going to walk the land, make sure they walk the land, and give you feedback on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because then they can tell you like about the timber, like land realtors. Good land realtors will know about the timber, the wildlife. They'll tell you what you're looking for. So if you're looking for a personal piece of land, the best thing to do is probably get a realtor first to help find you what you're looking for, and they can kind of line it up. Hey, in this area, I'm looking for 10 to 20 acres. With this, and I need electricity. I want good timber on it, and wildlife. I want to hunt, and they'll line it up with you as well.
Yeah, just don't skip boots on the ground, no matter what. Like, I don't care how clean the land looks like. Like, you don't know. There could be a homeless person with a tent on your land.
That happens a lot.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you want to know these things before you purchase it. Trust me, if you spend $200 on a drone photographer, it is worth it 100% of the time. So definitely, we use droners.io for that. Anything else to add, Dan? I think it's really good getting realtor opinions. I don't like when people rely on them like the gospel.
Yeah, the other thing's just the price is the only other thing that I had. We didn't talk about price at all. That's a part of due diligence. Make sure to do your own price check. Pull a comp report on the land portal. Make sure it's priced appropriately and nothing crazy. Have the realtor do it because sometimes the land's priced really high. You don't want to buy land over market value. Negotiate, give them an offer under market value. Then I'm talking to the person who is looking to buy this for themselves or for a house or something. But for land investors, it's the same thing. Just make sure you got margin in the deal.
Yeah, we don't talk about due diligence a lot, so I'm glad we did this episode. I think it's definitely helpful for people who are doing their first, second, fifth deal. Don't skip these steps. It's really, really important. And if you are skipping them, it will eventually bite you in the ass. So make sure you're staying consistent with doing the right due diligence before buying. Let us know in the comments, guys, if you guys have got screwed over by skipping due diligence before. Curious. Other than that, hit the subscribe button. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks.
Thanks for joining, guys. See you next episode.